day 7 of the RADiculously 30-day challenge. Today, we're in the kitchen. We're going to purge at least 2 cabinets. But before we start, you got to make sure you got something fresh and good to drink. This is leftover chocolate cacao with some cacao nibs, and it's delicioso. I also have some coffee kombucha, which I'm going to pour into a glass out of this cabinet, which could use a little tidying up. Just looking at it, I can tell you, it's not bad. It just, you know, like, I don't know about y'all if you're in your kitchens. We're going to get a little love pour in. This is the coffee kombucha. Later today, I need to brew up more kombucha. The Rad Ninja is taking my new bike and putting it together. So, ooh, that is so yummy, delicious. And then you take a sip of the smoothie. Anybody else do this? You like kind of mix and match as you're drinking? Good morning, beautiful Kathleen. Yes, you caught me live. With the chocolate moustache. Good morning, Dawn. Good morning, Mark. How's everyone doing? Let me know in the comments how you are faring on this 30-day declutter challenge. Let's go in the freezer to make it colder. Hey, and Buddy over here, we got an issue with the fleas again. So bear with me just one moment. Stop. Hold that thought. No lickies, baby. No lickies. No. Okay, stay. Alrighty. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties, interruptions. You have to take care of your puppy, especially when they're chewing themselves raw, because we have to give him a bath and put some more medication on him. Or yeah, we're working on it. I know with my Angel, it was the allergy to the fleas, so that's one of the issues we're dealing with, and I keep trying to get him to stop. And we have him with this blankie on him, but it's not always easy to stop him. Come on, baby. You want to say hi to Buddy this morning? We're going to give a little Buddy love, okay? And then after Buddy, see, look, see, he's got his blankie. This is your baby. This is your sweetie poo. This is your sweetie poo. Yeah, I know everybody loves Buddy. Buddy is a love bug. He's my little boo. And I have my new nicknames for him as my Buddy Boo. Who's my Buddy Boo, huh? Who's the Buddy Boo? So we're gonna put him back. Will you do it for difficult? Oh, don't get your puppy like that. He's so lovable. All right, hold that thought. Come on. You gotta stop. Wrap you up in a little present. You are wrapped up in your baby. Okay, stay. I'm back. All right. Hallelujah. Alrighty, so yeah, we love Buddy too, obviously, and Angel used to do the same thing, and I didn't know that it was a flea allergy, because the fleas down here get really, really bad a couple times a year, and as a result, they start chewing on themselves because it gives them a contact dermatitis, and the rash is a reaction to the fleas, which cause a neurological problem at the same time. So it's something that, you know, like my dog Angel prior had also gone through, and I didn't realize it. The base of her tail was so swollen and raw, not from licking it as much, but it was just so agitated from it. So now let's start on those cabinets. Yummy. Make sure you got something good. You got to keep yourself going with fluids and yummy little niblets and treats. And check out our papaya. They call me Big Papaya, and it is ready.
Are you gonna cut that open today?
I am gonna cut this open today.
Cool.
I'm probably gonna do it after we're done with the cabinets. At least when I've gotten through what I'm gonna go through. So we're gonna keep it simple, right? Good for you, Robin. What? Nah. So we have these cabinets here. Now, what I tend to do is I don't just purge them. I also clean them. So I like to wipe and go as I go around the kitchen. Something about Florida. We have this thing that if you're not careful, if you bring boxes into your house, if you have dirt in your home, you never know if you're carrying in cockroaches or palmetto bugs, we call them down here. You can even just, they can sneak into your house through crevices. They can get into anything. My dad had an issue where it caused problems with his wiring, literally. All right. So in here we have some spices. I use the red pepper, the crushed red pepper, for the kimchi that is over here. I have some kimchi going. And we have bay leaves and some thyme, which I didn't realize we had thyme. Do you have thyme? It's all about time. And then we have rosemary, rosmarino in Italiano. So in here we have this horsetooth hot sauce, the O phase, orange habanero, cantaloupe, and carrot. This is definitely a Rad Ninja find. We like spicy in the house, by the way. And that really cool packaging too. Nice marketing. And we have up here some different, we have macadamia nut oil. We have the olive bar, some roasted almond oil. Oils, you gotta be careful about them going rancid. This is white balsamic vinegar and infused olive oil with garlic infusion. Nice. And at the very top here, and I need to take this down anyway because I meant to use it the other day. This is my mini OXO. It's a salad spinner. And my other one, my bigger one, is not here in the US. If I even have it anymore. Yeah, it might be a goodbye kind of deal. Whoops. And so, if you don't have a salad spinner, these are the coolest, right? To let out that top wheel, you do that, right? And you push down, push it down, and look at that. This one's really good for herbs. And then to stop it, you would push the black button. I have used this, and to close it back up, you just slide this little thing. I have used this for cilantro, parsley, and if you're doing a small salad, because this is really perfect, like single size. Of course, if you see my salad bowls, and you can reuse this outside bowl as a salad bowl. So let's say you're traveling, you can use the whole thing. It's just super and easy to utilize. So when we have a kitchen, we want everything to be optimal, functional, and usable, right? And accessible. Now, this is not my idea of an optimal kitchen, first off. I have lived in small apartments, having lived in Italy, where I had to use the space I was given and do the best with what I had to work with. Not always the easiest. My last apartment was it was kind of like a big room with an upper level that they, really high ceilings because it was in one of those really cool old buildings. And you walked up the stairs, and the stairs, looked over the living room. You could look down over into the kitchen, but the bed was it was kind of lofted up with the little sitting area and all built-in cabinetry, so you could really hide some stuff. And then what I did was I had boxes of stuff, and when I would rotate clothes out, I would put them in the boxes under the bed. I was able to utilize a lot of what I had for space there. Now, I'm going to wipe out those cabinets. Now, I always have a separate sponge that I utilize, not in, on the dishes, but on the cabinets. Maybe a separate one for if I have to do a quick wipe up on the floor. This one would be used also in the refrigerator. And just a little bit of soap. You don't need too much. And then I also have this. I have this really nice smelling spray stuff by 7th Generation. Yeah, I love my spices. Hi, Linda. How are you, honey? So we have a little bit of a messy going on in here. There's a little bit of rust coming off this door hinge, which is fine. This thing's going to get completely replaced at some point. I have a vision. Might not happen overnight, but my visions do come. And how many of you out there have manifested things in your life that you're like, I remember when I first made this mental note of what I wanted. And this has been my life, is when you're doing something in life and you have this idea kind of pop in. Not always random, it's just, I really want to do this. And this is a great example because I've been doing this Waheguru Kriya, which I think I might have done it in the 40-day Kundalini challenge. It's you're sitting in easy seated position. You have your fingers in Gyan chakra. This is Gyan mudra, but it's Gyan chakra Kriya, and you're waving them around in circles, and you're chanting Satanam, Satanam, Waheguru, Satanam. It's Waheguru, Waheguru. Anyway, long story short, I was doing this Kriya back in 2012, 2011, 12, and when I was living in that small Italian apartment and doing it, before I got that apartment, that's what it was, right after the first of the year of 2012, I made this conscious decision. I am going to find an apartment, and let me tell you, within 3 days, I had locked into that place. So, never doubt the power of your mind, and that when you make a choice that's really like conscious and directed and focused, you can manifest. And it doesn't have to come with hard work. It just comes with choice, focus, drive, dedication, devotion, and faith and knowing. Like, it sounds to some people crazy because they're not used to it and they don't live that way. I remember my old life was, I lived the hard way. It was all about work hard, because nothing ever comes without hard work. And when you're stuck in that mentality, that's all you're going to experience. Because that's what you've been conditioned, and you believe it. So what you believe is your reality. Your belief system's the hardest addiction to break. And so, this has been my experience. This is the power of totally making a choice to change, getting out of the old nasty paradigms that have kept us small and thinking we don't deserve better when we do. We got stuff all over the place in here. And let me know if you've ever done that, where you made that conscious choice and just made a change because you were over it, right? I had been looking for an apartment for a while. I just decided that day, that's it, I'm done. I'm going to find an apartment now. I will it so, And it did. It happened. And I knew where I wanted to be. And then the funny part about what I found for this apartment is I remember back when I lived there prior, from 2000, when I lived downtown Naples. I lived downtown Naples for a couple years, 2006 to 2008. And I remember that same building, and the owners of the apartment I was living in, had this apartment that when you're standing downstairs in they call the Baretti, it's also shopping area, the fancy area of Chiaia. And I remember looking up and seeing the ceiling of their place, which was this beautiful wood, okay, with fresco design murals on the ceiling. Very unique. You don't see that as often as you see like regular frescoes on the walls and the ceilings and such. So it was just you know, the beams of wood and the designs and the colors. And I remember looking up there going, wow. Something in me remembered that place like it was very significant, like one day I'd like to check that place out, right? Well, of course I've seen the inside because those were my landlords. How ironic is that? And they turned out to be really nice people. They were very interesting, as I love my Italian families. I love everybody. I've had some beautiful encounters. People have made me aware of myself through those encounters, and you know, growth happens in relationships with people you know, people you don't know. No matter what, we all touch one another. There is not a person or a soul that doesn't contribute to your growth, and nobody actually degenerates. We're always growing. So keep that in mind. All right, I'm not as tall as Ninja Tom, but I think I'm gonna have to pull this one down to do this one. Oh yeah, see, looks like the ants got in there. So this is the thing in Florida, we got ants down here, I'm just saying. Good morning, Cindy. Hi, Kristen. Hi, Carol. If I didn't say hi to you already, you know I will. I love you all. Thank you for joining. I know Friday at this time is not always the most convenient for some. Just depends on your time zone, right? All right, so that one, I'm going to do both sides on this one. Always helps to have extra sponges. Hi, Lindsay. How are you, honey? Who all in this live is doing this rad 30-day declutter challenge? Let me know in the comments. I want to know who's getting shit done. I know I've been cursing a little bit lately. I'm going to tell you right now, life has just kind of brought out my fiery side lately. And I'm pretty easy to get along with. I'm really easygoing. Much more so than I used to be. But ladies, you know, I've been posting and I really feel we're coming into a time where a lot of women, myself included, it's not that we're fed up, but we're just kind of like coming into this space of, you know what, I got life to live and we only got one life. And I don't mind taking care of people, but maybe I've not been taking as good a care of myself. And that's not to say I'm trying to fix my little top. It's just that this feels like a time when we are finding our direction. We're trusting our guidance and we're really allowing the inner wisdom and the intuition to tell us what it is, you know, that feels right, what aligns. I'm 44 now and I am in my year of intelligence. And so I really feel like my purpose, my calling is kind of honing in and streamlining a whole lot more. No lickies. And for me, I want experience, but I also want to bring experience to others. Which is why it's so important for me to connect with people who are looking for whatever it is I can provide them. Retreats. You know, Italy is calling next year, and I'm looking at May around Memorial Day weekend for 1 or 2 week trips. 2 weeks for me, but optional 1 or 2. And those are 5 days and 10 days. So there's this beautiful villa I've already got reserved in Florence area, the Tuscany area. It's absolutely gorgeous, has a private pool. It's right next to horse stables where they do the International Polo Championship, which is really rad. So let us fit these in here. So we've got these beautiful bottles, look really nice like that. And I do that. Does anybody else do that when you organize? You put things the way that they'll look so pretty. Now, for these, I'm going to tuck these back here. I don't use bay leaf as often, but I'm going to do this. Maybe we'll put the bay leaf off to the right, and that's what we'll do. So I like things neat, organized, and easy to locate. I believe that our biggest stressor is when we are constantly seeking that which should be right in front of our face or in a convenient, regular spot, right? Poshmark, yes. I think you told me about Poshmark, and that'll be my next one. Is taking the pictures of all the clothes and things that I put aside because I've got that set up. The day before yesterday, I got the dryer replaced. I had this old beastie thing that was huge. It's not super old, it's just that it was for dry cleaning. So you can hang your clothes and dry clean, but I never used it, and it was just too bulky and unnecessary. So, let me know if anybody's interested. You can send messages to support@raw-thentic.com, and we will get to that. All right, so now I can put more stuff up in there, but let's see, what do we want to put up in there? We want stuff that we want accessible, right? Oh, you know what? This cabinet, although I don't know how well you can see into it because this door doesn't open all the way, we have some items that I think I'm going to put up in there because they're things that we would want to use more readily, right? So like these bowls, for example, just tuck them right there because I know the ninja is always looking for the bowls. And I move things around sometimes just to see where they're more functional. So these are our little storage jar bowls and our little white plates. I don't know, should we put them up here? Maybe that's what we'll do. Maybe we'll do this and take these because I use these a lot. These anchors, I use those a lot. And there's another one, and unfortunately this is, oopsie, I have just knocked over all the tomatoes. Hello, good morning. They just wanted to say hello. Tomato. Oh, they're definitely going to become a soup later too. I think what I'll do is make like a cold gazpacho soup. And I think that's what's in store for those. Unfortunately, this cabinet, because of the coconut oil, has coconut oil all over it. Somebody pours it and doesn't wipe it off, just saying. I don't use coconut oil very much anymore. I love them. Anyway. Alright, so we can put these here. And then this will tuck perfectly right there, and that'll shut right. Yep, that shuts perfectly. These, because I got that I can do there. And then these are for, although I don't know where all the lids are. Sometimes lids become a little bit hidden. And this is just because I won't grab those spices as often, but I will grab those bowls more readily. But at least you can see through them because they're clear, right? I have a lot of friends overseas, Dawn. I lived in Italy off and on for over 17 years. I'm very well known in Naples, Italy, even though I haven't been there in a while. I have a lot of connections. Oh my gosh. Greece, Italy, Germany, Belgium, the Netherlands. I have friends all over. Even in Thailand, I have family living there. I have family in, I have family all over the place too. I had family in Ireland. I have friends in the UK. I have friends in Australia, and I haven't been to New Zealand yet. So yeah, decluttering the cupboards is huge. So continuing on, let us clean up this, because this is really kind of messy. What I do sometimes is I'll just do soap and water. Very simple sometimes just to clean out any oil. Just make your hands nice and soapy. And just wipe around it. Get your spongy sponge out, wipe it up. Alright. Now I've got my mantra in my mind, and my mind on my mantra. This is really kind of sticky, like messy. Who's in their cupboards today? If you're just joining, we're doing day 7. We're decluttering cabinets in the kitchen. These things can be so messy. And so the next thing I'm going to do is I have to wipe out that, because otherwise you'd be putting it on top of more stuff. So this cabinet is also going to get decluttered because it's not super bad, but it just needs reorganization, because this cabinet really doesn't get utilized that regularly. I could probably put the coconut oil there so it's not all over in here. And it's a lot easier for accessibility for people who do use it more. All right. Hopefully that's good. So we're kind of, I set up the camera specifically so you could see the cabinets I'm doing, because that side's going to be a whole different game and ball game. Totally different. Because it has my spices and cabinets that have a lot of the, excusez-moi, dishes and stuff. All right. This can go right there. Surprise! How many? Well, 2. You can do 2. We have it as purging 2. Right now I'm kind of doing 2 small ones and this one. The one on the very top, let's see how dry this is now. Yeah. This one here is not utilized as, well, maybe a little bit. It's kind of utilized. Has the power stuff in there, going to the Wi-Fi and all. And it has supplements. It's not something I need to do this second, but this one, as well as that one, are the ones I was focusing on. So I said I was going to do at least 2 or more. Hey, and check this out. So just a fun fact. Americans say and count like this, right? We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Europeans will say, look, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Interesting, huh? How we count differently. We use our hands differently. Use our eyes and ears and mouth differently. Just saying. So we have some quinoa. Love our quinoa in the house. This is a new bag, so I'm just going to open it because we finished off the other bag last night. And I'm all about getting things ready and accessible, making things easy peasy, lemon squeezy. There's a song from someone's riding my backyard, riding my backyard, riding my bike, oh yeah. So, up here, I'm going to tell you that I got this for the mac and cheese that I made, the chickpea crumble. I'm not as impressed. In fact, it needs some flavors. And you know what I think I'm going to do with this is I'm going to mix it and maybe in a bigger bag. It's okay. It's simply chickpeas, dried chickpeas. But what you can do, because it has a recipe on the back for chickpea crumbs, where you take this with some black pepper, cayenne pepper, chopped parsley. You could do dried parsley, some garlic powder or garlic that's dried, and some salt. And you can mix that in. So what I'm going to probably end up doing is putting Italian seasoning in it and maybe a little bit of salt. Yeah, that'd be simple enough, right? And some black pepper. Anybody else ever try this? Now, I had made up my the cheese sauce for the mac and cheese, and these are the pasta noodles we use, and they were pretty good.
Where were those at?
In the cabinet, which I'm cleaning.
Here are your keys. Where's your bag?
Oh, voila.
Where's your bag?
It's over there.
Oh, okay. So you got that in your bag, you got your dad's keys in the bag, and your charger, you got bags. So that's the final thing. And then Ace Hardware.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Everyone's saying hi to Tom. Robin says hi.
Hi, Robin!
We got quinoa flakes. Now this is a good alternative for breakfast. You can take the quinoa flakes, and it's really simple because you don't need it to soak or anything. You can do it just regular, or you can warm it. It's up to you. The instructions on here, it says preheat. You can even make a quinoa flake granola, but it doesn't tell you how to cook these. So, you could just add water. That's interesting. Doesn't tell you. Don't you think it would tell you? I have some of this in the fridge that I'd already opened as well. So these are going to go up here, as well as the quinoa, since that makes sense. So we're rearranging to make things more accessible, place them in a more readily available, hand accessible, like right next to the stove. Okay. And then we have the oven. We have some salt in here in a container. These are for the oven. This is going to get cleaned out. Now these are some teas that I had brought. This is a tea I brought back from India, and this is a tea I bought in Slovakia. This is a chai blend, and I bought the little container because I liked it. Right? I have another container that had green tea in it, and it was green, and I don't know where that is actually. It's interesting how things just kind of disappear. Hi Debbie, how are you, honey? Thank you for joining. Thank you, thank you, thank you. In the freezer, I've got coffee kombucha, and right here I have my chocolate smoothie. In fact, I might add that coffee kombucha and that together. So both of these are chai, different variations of chai. I'll probably make some of that up later when we get more water. This is licorice root. Can't tell by smelling this, but this is licorice root. I always try to keep everything in the glass jars because they keep them fresher longer. These are extra. Alright, this is sesame. This jar, I have to get the sticky stuff on the outside off. I'm not always the greatest at doing that. My dad likes these bottles from GT Dave's. These are 48 fluid ounces. I don't know. I have not yet figured out the easy way to take these labels off. I don't have the time and the patience to do it. I've tried it before, and that's kind of how I ended up with the jar like this. I know there's different ways to do it. If anybody has any easy peasy solutions, let me know in the comments. I could use some assistance. These are extra bottles and jars I had just placed up in this cabinet. They don't need to be up here. Some of these are going to get reused. Well, they're going to get reused because, especially when they have the droppers, I like to reuse them. Sometimes I make up blends, oils for my face and my skin. I like to give things as gifts like that. I made CBD oil, and I put them in those before. These are kefir grains that my sister gave me. These are also kind of cute, so I've kept those just in case I can use them. And these are great, by the way, for those of you, if you haven't done your drawer decluttering, these are great for storing things. Thumbtacks, paper clips, rubber bands, anything loose that you want to keep together, these jars right here are really great. You know, recycle, reuse, refurbish, whatever you can. And then my sister loves these Weck jars because She likes these little clip top things. She gave me these kefir grains a while back. They're still good. Kind of cool, huh? Have you ever done kefir? Think the kombucha's hard? Kefir's like every 24, 48 hours. You got to turn that sucker over. Do jars keep them fresher longer since you can't push the air out? It depends what kind of jars. Like, for example, when you have a seal like these, this will keep the air out. If you have canning jars with the canning lids, you can keep the seal, you know, that will keep the air out. But these particular tops, unless you get the insert, they don't do a very good job of sealing really, really well, because there has to be still that rubber around the edge. So I hadn't gotten the inserts, and I have not yet looked for those style inserts. Some jars you can get those little plastic pieces. No, they're not plastic, they're like I don't know what the material is, but they're white and they're round and they fit right up inside of it. Kind of like this one. I believe this one has one. Yeah. You see how this, it does a better job. I have to get a fingernail in here to keep the air out. This here inside. Watch your hands, there's a fan above you, baby.
Oh, whoa. That would have hurt.
You were really, really close on that.
Oh, it doesn't stay.
That's why I didn't move it up anymore. I was trying to do that too. But
Do you know why you couldn't?
No, it wasn't tightened on all the way.
Because you needed a step stool to get up under there and tighten it.
I just needed a ninja. I don't need to do it all. I got you, baby.
I almost just swallowed this. That's why you didn't do it. You wanted to.
You think so warm.
You see, try to lift under there. And see now, Stan, see how like all this space all up in your head? You got like, you know, if you want them to see like a little bit more, you can't waste space.
But
we ain't got time for that.
cabinets.
I know, but they could still see you. They can't see me go to the cabinets.
My head gets cut off, or the cabinet gets cut off because I was showing them the top of here.
You gotta find a good medium.
I love my ninja. He takes care of the details. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I got skills!
And I'm watching.
And they're multiplying.
Alright, finishing up cleaning this cabinet now, right? Thank you for that reminder, Robin, because I meant to plug the phone in and I so totally didn't. So usually when you're all watching me, I got power. I got the power! There we go. Now we're better. Right? What? Right, so the rubber with the mung beans. The jar caps that come with the mason jars, I've used those and I have some down here. I have extras. I always keep the extras specifically for the purpose that I might need them in the future. You know, I don't always like holding on to some of that stuff, but there's a purpose and a use for a lot of things that I do keep. So, and I've needed that, like when you do soups, you gotta use these. You cannot use the white caps. First off, the soup will usually stain the cap, but just like juices too, right? Anything really, really liquidy, it's gonna pour through. It's gonna come out seeping because it's not really good. It's not really well sealed. So, and we're overdue to make chocolates. You know, we got chocolate the other day, raw cacao. So now we're gonna have chocolate. I gotta make chocolates. I got like a whole list of things I want to get done today. It's not the chocolates. Got to do the kombucha brewing. We're gonna cut up that papaya shortly. In the bathroom turned out so beautiful. I'm so thrilled that it got finished. That I finally finished the grouting. The grouting, you know, sometimes it's those little detail things that once it's done, you're like, ah, my sanctuary. So I put the vanity back in last night, and now I need to take the vanity. See, that's day... there's a vanity one on medicine cabinet. That's day 17. I might have to skip to day 17 because my vanity is dirty, dusty kind of deal. I got to take all the little glass shelves out and wipe them down and dust around and then put everything back and take out what doesn't, you know, no longer serves if there's stuff in there, because sometimes there is extra stuff that doesn't need to be in there. So let's wipe this out. We've got the towel. The Rad Ninja took the bike out, got it all set up. I'm ready to roll.
Yeah, we got 3 now.
We got 3 rad bikes. That was such a sweet surprise. Dad's like, yeah, I don't know what happened. I think they sent us another bike. I don't know. Is that the truth? Is Dad trying to surprise me and just...
I think he just bought it for you because he was tired of leaving you in the dust.
He left me in the dust the other day. We had so much fun. We found that restaurant. It was just a beautiful, beautiful time together. I'm really proud of my dad. He's, he's tried so hard over these years. It takes time to change your patterns and your habits. And so I don't know if you have a parent out there, if you still have your parents, really, I don't care what your differences are. My dad even pointed it out. I want to be happy in my last days in my life. I don't want to be, having arguments or resentments or, strained relationships, especially with family, into my last days. He gets a little sad because he hasn't heard from my sisters, and I understand that. Totally. I mean, sometimes I don't hear from them. It's just the nature of people's lives, and you can't take it personal. But at the same time, it's a little efforts that make a difference. And just know that you don't know how long you're going to have your parents, as I learned this summer. And we're not here to fix our parents. We can only love them where they're at. And I guarantee you one thing that I've learned through my relationship with my dad, when you stop trying to fix them or expect them to show up to you a certain way, and you just accept them where they're at, just, no matter how much it triggers you. And see, you also have to reach a certain state of healing too, because even with my mom, I had to find peace within myself to no longer be triggered by things that she used to say or do. To the point where I started to be more compassionate and understand that, as children, we're like the improved version of our parents. And we can continue to improve if we're mindful and in awareness of where we came from. When we see our patterns and recognize they're not us, who we are, and that we've taken on stories from our parents. I mean, for years I was doing the same stuff my parents were, and the same things I would say the same things my parents would say. And how many of you catch yourself going, I'm saying this, I sound like my mom, or I sound like my dad, oh my gosh. Only to realize that's really not who you are, that's who you've become. You took on their story. And that creates that, that's where legacy comes from. And unless you take the time, and it's not easy, it's exhausting, and it takes effort, and it takes determination, devotion, and true trust that you can reclaim yourself through your own mindfulness and awareness. And then the moment you go, oh my gosh, that's not even me, that's a pattern, you have that opportunity to change it. So, don't harbor and expect others to catch up to you. Be the change you wish to see in the world is a great statement that Gandhi said. It's the reality. If you want others to change, be the inspiration through your own personal life. When you show up for others in your personal, authentic self, not trying to be who that you want them to think you are or who they want you to be, because guess that's the irony, right? Like, how many of us have shown up to other people because of the way we think they want us to be, but we want them to show up to us and they're not being that way? Are we creating a craziness or what? Hello? Ooh, cuckoo. Definition of crazy is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. If you show up to somebody and they're still acting a certain way, well, Jedi mind trick, do something different. Don't react or respond the way you would in the past that you have done already, but maybe go, let me sit back and sit with this for a moment. What would Mr. Rogers do? That was what Tom and I were talking about after we saw the Mr. Rogers documentary and movie, was what would Mr. Rogers do? And he was such a genuinely sweet, sweet man. I don't think there was any anger in him, or at least if there ever was, he got it out, right? So you want your life to be in joy and happiness. You only got this life, so why be so serious and get so stressed out over little things? Don't let them take you out of your joy. Do you know how many years I was being told when I was in Italy, and I'd be upset because of some guy I was dating acting all stupid and crazy, and that I was the one being crazy about the way they were acting? I mean, there's crazy right there. Me getting upset about the way someone else is acting has nothing to do with me, and it's none of my business. That's my taking on and giving my personal power away to somebody else just because they're a certain way. I'm not responsible for that. I'm responsible for how I show up. And so my girlfriends and my friends would say, just be happy. And in a way, I almost felt like it was condescending. And now I can go, oh, you know what? They knew what they were talking about. And even if they didn't, it made sense. Because the reality is you're the only one responsible for being happy. Nobody can make you happy. Only you can. So. Yeah. You heard that? You listen to me, baby. I'm gonna pull this one down. Oh! Surprise! Well, I found a little kombucha jar bottle thing. Not bottles. I have these little extras that I use when I kept these because the little plastic containers, I use them to scoop out the kombucha because they're small and compact, and it just makes it easier for me to do that. And so I stopped the fan yesterday when I was doing something here in the kitchen, and I realized the fan needs to be dusted off. It's really dirty. And you'd be surprised how much soot is in the air, like the carbon monoxide. You know, we have these I think it's a code nowadays that you have to have not only a smoke detector but a carbon monoxide detector. And when you, oh wow, it's dusty in here too. When you turn around, you see black soot on things. That in itself is telling you there's a lot of carbon monoxide in the atmosphere. And we create it just by our exhalation, right? We take in oxygen, and then our bodies, our breath, gives off carbon monoxide. Right? I got that right? So I'm a little bit height challenged, so yes, that's what I said. But that's why I got a nice tall Rad Ninja thing. See, you gotta do this at least, I'd say at least once or twice a year. I pretty much do stuff like this typically more than once a year, just because that's how I am. But it makes you feel better when you move things around. Sometimes you find a more optimal spot for things in your house. And it shifts energy, right? So if anybody, you've been watching me long enough, you know I shift a lot of energy. I break a lot of glass. The other day the light went out. So I gotta replace the light in the back laundry room. So I have this container of salt. I think I can fit that in here because this is just an extra container. Oh yeah, that fits perfectly right there. There. Voila. That's nice and neat and organized. This I'm gonna put somewhere in here to make it more accessible for the Rad Ninja. Hi Jessica, honey. How are you? I'm gonna put the coconut oil so that when he goes, where's the coconut oil? I'm gonna say, open up the cabinet. It's right there next to the stove. And then we have this for the oven. What else can we fit up in there? So we have some other goodies in this cabinet. So check this out. It's like everything has a history in my house. I had 3 bowls, and there were 3 sizes that fit within this one bowl. And this is like an old, it doesn't even have a marking of where it's from. I don't even know. Maybe I got this in Korea. That's probably where I got it. I brought a lot of stuff back from Korea, really cool stuff. I love these glass plates. I found these at a little like swap shop kind of deal. I'm gonna put these up in here because they fit perfect. That is perfect, actually. What else can I fit in there? Just rearranging things just makes life so much easier. It's not big enough for the big ones, but I got smaller ones in here too. Sometimes you just gotta move things around to get energy to flow, better feng shui, so you can allow things to come in, right? You get rid of some things, you allow other things to come in. There we go. Oh, there we go. Sorry about all that noise, that clatter, chatter. These should fit perfectly right above. And so if I need the glass ones, I have them right there. Look at that! Yay! Because the big plates, and I mean big, the wider plates won't fit in there, unfortunately. If they did, that's where I'd put them though. But I might be just totally rearranging everything in these shelves. I might be just doing the 3 shelves today, but I might get really busy and just totally sort things through. But those other big cabinets are going to that's going to determine when I move other stuff. Okay, so I'm thinking out loud. I do that a lot. What else can I put up in that top one that's not needed right away, but that's a good space for it? I have, so these are mochas. These are Italian coffee violettis. This is how Napolitanos make coffee. I think I've shown these before. I like these. This was my initial first one. And I thought I had 3. I had a bigger one. When I was, the bigger one that I had, I think was a 5-cupper. The bottom tape comes off. There's a little ring in here. You put the coffee here. You take this little piece out. You put the water in. The water goes up to this little point here, the little air spout. You put it back on. You put it on top of the burner. And then you have to pay attention with these electrics, because I don't know, with the gas it's a lot easier because you can regulate and keep the flame. And this is a newer one. And this Bialetti is missing its, for some reason, I don't know why, but it's missing a seal in this one, so I gotta get a seal for that. Speaking of plastic seals, aw, hi Christine, I know you're so cute, itty bitties. So these, because it's espresso, this might be 3 cups. Or one very nice large espresso. I'm used to, the big ones though are like 5-10 cups. Oh, it's a FedEx delivery. I see the FedEx man is approaching the door. We love the deliveries. Lately we've been getting a lot of nice stuff. And then we have, okay, now this is something I know Tom and I are going to play with later because I just decided. Oh. Has anybody here ever used these spring rolls? Here, hold that thought. I'm going to get the door.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Anyway, he just left it at the door. I think I need to run after him, but I'm not going after him right this second. So, actually what I do is I just go down to FedEx if it's a wrong delivery. I just drop it off and say, somehow this got delivered to the wrong house. And that's just easy enough because it's right up the street. Let's see. So, back to the spring rolls. You just soak these in water. You don't even have to cook these. You soak them in water, and then you put your veggies inside and you wrap and roll them. Have you ever used this? I got this at, these are rice paper too. So if you're gluten intolerant, this is a really great option.
Another one.
Oh, is that another gift to you?
No, it's the second one for my second phone.
Oh my god, that's so
Invisible.
cute.
Not rad.
Check this out. Have y'all if you are interested in Visible, let us know, because Tommy son will send you an invitation, because it's by invitation only. Look at that. Isn't that cute, the way that they store it in this cute little compartment?
It's the best phone service ever, y'all. It's owned by Verizon, and it's invite only, and it's $40 on the Verizon network, and it's the first carrier app only. So you just install the app, you get this from an invitation, and there's no taxes, there's no hidden fees, and it's like Verizon and no contract. Super, super cool.
Would you like the coffee kombucha?
Yes, please.
Here you go.
Oh, thanks. Yummy. Yummy, yummy.
Frozen. I iced it up for you.
What?
I like it when it's a little frozen.
That was quick. One day they FedEx that.
That's sweet. So now, I'm gonna open another one. Then I'm gonna add it to my coffee, my chocolate kombucha, or chocolate smoothie. So I took those out. I'm trying to find something that'll conveniently fit up there. And while I'm at it, today I've got to get on Amazon anyway, because I need a new, this is a smaller French press, and I usually use this for my kombucha SCOBY hotel, which is over here, but it needs to be poured out. I think in fact, I'm probably going to utilize it for the other purposes. So kombucha is really cool, because if you let it brew too long, you can turn it into many things. You can use it for washing your hair. You can use it for cleaning, because it becomes a vinegar past a certain point. That's what vinegar is, distilled. All right, so I have all of these really rad silicone things, and they're really good for making like my raw cheesecakes and stuff. Oh, in fact, like the mini tarts and all. Look at that, 3. Then I have a cake pan, a round one and a square one, and those are good for making brownies. Just saying. So I'm gonna see if these will fit up on that top shelf. If they do, great. Oh, look at that. All right, well, that's not gonna shut like that though. So we'll do this. And then, what else we got up in here? This is something I usually use for my cheeses. It's also good for storing vegetables. When I lived in Italy, and this is one of those sea grape leaves, which you could use like paper, which is really cool too. Completely done with that one. So this has cheesecloth inside of it. I'm going to use this for storage for all of my cheese stuff. I'm going to start making cheeses again. I usually do more ferments, like the cheeses and all that, in the autumn time period, because it's the time when it's a little bit cooler. I usually don't eat much cooked food in the summer because it's so darn hot, and when you start heating up the house and fighting the air conditioning is a pain in the butt. So these, for example, are little mini colanders. They're actually fruit colanders, like strawberry colanders and all that. And then I have these coffee filters that are non-bleached, and then more cheesecloth and strainer bags. All of this stuff I use for making my cheeses. When I make the more hardened cheese, I use the coffee filter inside one of the colanders. I put the colander in another bowl so that it can drip off the whey, and then I take it out after a day or two, and I put it in a parchment paper and store it that way. Do any of you make your own cheeses at home? That's that. I don't think that would not fit in there. I wish it would, but this. Finding different ways to utilize stuff. But when I lived in Italy, I bought this, and what I would do is I would put like clean greens or something like that, like maybe my rucola washed, and any type of green I wanted to maintain, I would put in here instead of plastic bags and all that. So right now, I'm just going to place all this down here, because right now this is kind of my overage space. get to that after. Just not the second. Now, I tend, like I said, I have been keeping some of these. Oh, I didn't even realize. I wonder if that would work. I have to get a new glass pitcher for this. I think it's the same brand as this other one. Where'd it go? Instead of buying a whole brand new carafe, that's the glass, that's the name, the glass. This is a Bodum. I use this to make my tea for the kombucha. The smaller one, as you can see, they're totally different sizes. And I have a little one too for like individual size. And that one is over here. So the little itty bitty, so 3 sizes, right? And this is the original French press, it says. I need to get a new carafe for this one. And the reason I didn't want to get rid of this is number one, first off, the carafe is cheaper to buy and you can buy more than one at a time. And it fits snug in this little holder. And second, because when I bought this, it's a double filter so you don't get the coffee grinds. Now, the key will be, now I might need a Rad Ninja to help me with this part. Since that came off, I think the reason I couldn't, I have to take it apart, that's the key, right? Because this bottom piece screws on, and if I can screw the other one to it, that would be ideal. Otherwise, the key, I'd have to find a way to get the very top of this thing off. So that's my challenge, one of the challenges to do later. Let's see what happens. I might be able to find a fix action on that. Maybe if you have a suggestion in the comments on how to get that top and bottom off. Alrighty, now, I wonder if that would fit up there. No, I'm not trying to force anything in here that doesn't want to fit. So sometimes I do things like that. That'll work. That'll fit. That functions. Now, you can tell I use French presses a lot when I'm finding lots of detail stuff here. I'm finding more French press pieces. All for that same size. Oh, this didn't fit because it's not the same size. It's all good. So that's that, and that was originally to the other one. Okay, that makes sense. Rad, super rad. All right, we're gonna make up. So now I've got these 2 cabinets done. Look at that. And there's some other things that need to be relocated still, but that's okay. It's tidy, it's organized. I'm happy with it. I'm gonna get coffee kombucha. I'm gonna add. Let's see how rad that is. This is the vanilla one. I'm going to add it to the chocolate smoothie. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Put this in the fridge. Actually, I'm going to put it in the freezer. I like it a little bit icy cold. A little bit more yummy. And then, how far are you coming with your kitchens? And just to show you, because I want to tilt it up, you can see better. See how the cabinet is now? All nice and tidy up in there. And then what I'm going to do is that corner cabinet real quick. I'm going to finish up. I'm going to mix up the smoothie a little bit better. There's some little cacao nibs in there. It's really yummy. All right. Needs to be colder though. All right. Now, I took tea out of this back cabinet. That top shelf needs to be wiped down. I had this open because I was stepping up to get in there. This is parchment paper. that I cut into squares, and I'm going to make circles so that I can use it in the dehydrator that's circular back here. Now, I haven't dehydrated anything in a while. Again, it's summertime. I don't do a whole lot of dehydrating in the summer. Or I don't do a whole lot of anything that requires heating. Jasmine pearls. This stuff is so yummy. In fact, it doesn't take much. Then there's the Moroccan mint. We love Moroccan mint. We can't do this right now because we're kind of out of water. And we have to go fill the 5-gallon jug. Then we can make some tea in the house. Now, continuing with the theme of tidying, I have these little jars. Makeup, you can use them for makeup. Or I've actually made a little lip balm using a little CBD oil and some cinnamon. And what did I do for the sparkle? I used some stuff that it just gives it a nice little shimmer, and some chocolate. That's what it was. There's chocolate and cacao butter and a little coconut oil, so it was a little smoother. So much you can do with everything, that make it edible, because whatever you put on your body should be edible. This is for popsicles, although I think I'm going to get rid of this because this one didn't feel as functional unless I cut these things off. They're good to get them out of it when it's frozen, but honestly, when you're trying to eat it, these things get in the way. There we go. So the reason my French press carafes are the way they are, pieces and parts, is because I've had some breakages. I think my dad broke a couple. I broke some as well. This is my CBD oil jar. You can tell by smelling it, just saying. All right, so we have a little chair. I'm going to use this as my step up. Okay, so that means I don't need this open. That's a little bit of a mess. That's next. It's not in this episode. So I'm going to get up in there and wipe down the cabinets and see what space I got. Hey, if you're doing two, you're ahead of the game. If you do more than 2 cabinets in your kitchen, God bless you, because you'll feel so much better once you've done it. Alrighty, I found another carafe. Not carafe, but the actual piece. Which is all good. Again, like I said, a lot of soot collects. I know the tops of these cabinets I usually wipe down at least once a year. And they're already needing it. I know I'm sorry about the rear view here, peeps. Foots and all. And I know there's a fan next to my head, even if you can't see it. I'm up in the cabinet, cleaning house, making it tidy. Let's make up a song. Gotta do things smarter. You don't have to do it harder. Give up the fight and enjoy this life. Gotta do things smarter. Do it less harder. Let go of the stories that have held you back. Pick up your life. There's no attack. Right? Make up the words. Make up the words to your life. The story of your life is your creation. You get to make it up as you go along. You don't need to let someone tell you or dictate what it is. I think too often we get caught up in a victim role thinking someone's holding us back when the only person who's holding us back is us. And if you saw what I put this morning, I said, basically, one day there's someone that will change your life, right? Keep your eyes open and just look in the mirror, because that's you, baby. That's you. You are not only the author of your life, but director, producer. I'm still working on mine. Hell, what I'm sharing with you is always something I'm learning myself or I'm going through. It's a constant every day showing up and growing up, you know. Doesn't happen overnight. Hey, 44 years old, I'm still trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. And even when I was younger, I knew I didn't want to grow up. Not grow up in the sense of being an adult, but, you know, like you can be mature and still have fun. Maturity is really like, you know, getting past the crap. It's embracing life and being neutral and not being stuck in one or the other, vacillating between, I'm upset, I'm complaining, or, you know, like whatever. You know, it really isn't as difficult as we make it. The only reason it's difficult is because we haven't dealt with whatever it is that we're resisting, right? We haven't accepted beauty because we're caught up in the crap, right? I want to be happy, don't you? It's really not as difficult as we make it. Drop that serious attitude. Yeah, there's things we gotta do. You gotta live. But the reality is what you believe it is. You know? You hear people say, but, you know, there's a whole life here. There's a reality. Yeah, well, that's your reality because you're stuck on it. That's what you're attached to. You know? If you're attached to being miserable, then you're never going to get out of it, are you? Till you drop it. Misery loves company too, don't they? When people will tell you you're not being realistic, you're not living in the now. What, your now? Because I gotta be miserable, I gotta be unhappy, I gotta be stressed out and furious all the time. Listen, that was me. I don't need it anymore. Hey, that was humbling. I don't have to suffer to have a great life, to achieve happiness, to really embrace the beauty that is at my disposal, that is available to me and what I deserve. Alright, so this, I don't use the make thing, the bread mold as much, but I'm just gonna tuck this here for right now. Making space and finding a place. Making space and making a place for everything, so there's no waste. Alright, this I took off to the side because it usually goes over there. We use this predominantly for the regular water, just as a pitcher, but when we need hot water, we just plug it in. Plug it in, plug it in. What else needs to go up in this cabinet? I know there's stuff. You know what? There's stuff in the other room I'm gonna grab while I'm at it. The teas, these teas, I'll place so that I can get to them easily, right here. I have a whole lot more tea that I can put in there. And then this other cabinet here too is all of my kombucha teas. I've got gunpowder, sencha, young hyson, yerba mate. I even have a coffee storage compartment. But I have more of all these mixing bowl things that we have back here that need to be put up in here so that they're accessible. Because our Rad Ninja's always looking for something. I'm going to put him up in here. So I love stackables, and it makes me think of the Russian dolls. You know how the Russian dolls fit in one another? Does anybody out there have any of those? One goes inside of the other. And these are heavy bowls. And then we tuck this back here. Fits perfectly in the center. And then I've got all sorts of stuff back there I can put up in here. This is more tea. The teas are going to go all here. I'm going to put them in containers. I have some in containers already. I don't normally keep the plastic unless it's for fact. down here, at the moment, I have, this is the overage section. So, like for example, I have to tape this up. So, the cacao, because the thing was broken, unfortunately. We got cacao the other day. Let me see your comments over here. Yay! I know, isn't it inspiring? Like when someone else is doing it, it's like, I need to do that. I know because I'm the same way. If I see somebody doing something I feel I need to do, they've just inspired me, right? You know, that's what we need. That's why we have to hang with people that are going to uplift and motivate and support you, just like you rock and rad stars. Each one of you has a story to tell that is valuable and will inspire someone else to live more authentically. Because you doing it as you being you, that's huge. And we all need permission to just be us. So, I challenge each and every one of you, if you're not already doing a 30-day challenge of some nature, to post in the group every day for the next 30 days. Boom, tag your it. Share with us either a rad story, what you're decluttering, maybe a story about a piece of clothing, or maybe a statue or something you have in your house, you know, that you hold on to, an heirloom, a knick-knack, I don't know, something like a crystal. Share in the group and let us know, what is it? Number one, where'd you get it? What's the significance? Things like this I want to hear, I want to read. I want to see what you got. Because I know you all got some seriously rad stories, and maybe you need to be challenged to tell them so you can hold those memories alive and bring that joy back out. Because that's the creativity. When you start going back through the things you're grateful for and you tell the stories about why and the significance and the meaning it has for you, others are going to be like, wow. Just like I said, you sharing you is what inspires other people. And it uplifts them because it gives them permission to do the same. So again, challenge you, tag your it, boom, every day for the next 30 days in the group. I want to hear your stories. I want to get to know you better. Because we all have different priorities. We all have different focuses. We all have things we hold on to. And everybody's got a reason for it. So tell me what you hold on to and the significance of it. It could even be a belief system. I have my own. Hello. That's what makes us human and who we are. So all of this, I'm going to have to do something with the French presses. These, because I'm not using them right this second, I'll just tuck over here. Although now I'm getting inspired enough that I think I'm going to have to brew up some espresso. I'm sure the Rad Ninja would love to try my espresso. I was taught by Italians how to make espresso properly. Alright, what else can we tuck up in there that will... Oh, we have all these mason jars. And honestly, this is not my favorite cabinet. I'm not a crazy... I dislike corner cabinets like this, you know, or even Lazy Susan stuff, because to me those are so messy. My grandmother had them in the house she had in Massachusetts, and the house my dad's in now. I've never been a fan of Lazy Susans and all that wasted space. I like things that are directly functional, easily accessible, open and airy, clear. Like my ideal kitchen has an island with a white quartz crystal with a little flecks of sparkles and like very hint light blues, just hints dabbed in it. You know, like I already know exactly what my kitchen counters are going to look like, and the island. I want, personally, I've always wanted, what are they called? It's there's a special design with the drawer and refrigerator in them, in the island, so that like your greens are accessible, drinks are accessible, things like that, things that you use right away. I love having a big cabinet style refrigerator like Sub-Zero makes amazing, very energy efficient, very expensive, but when it shuts, it seals and it keeps and locks in the temperature, and you can set it properly. Whereas when I bought this house, this is all the stuff that came in it. It's not the greatest. This thing needs to be pulled out. This microwave, which I'm not a fan of microwaves. If you read up on any type of microwave and the radar stuff, I worked in IT for years, and I worked with people who worked in radar sites, and they talked about how it sterilizes, how it destroys your health, and this is a smaller scale, but it's just as dangerous. I don't touch them. Convection ovens and things like that is a totally different story. The toaster oven stuff I love, but microwaves, I personally feel they're gone. You just get rid of them. We also got for the Rad Ninja some quick cookouts. Steel cut, because that's the only kind we like around here. Steel cut oats are the bomb diggity, baby. So I like to soak my oats 24 hours. You gotta rinse them. I like to mix in some spices and then fresh fruits. To sweeten them, I like to either chop up some dates or some currants or raisins. This we can place right here. So that's probably gonna get poured into that right there. So we have still cut oats here, which technically we can put in. Let's put that there because I know it's going to be utilized. Oh, I'm still pulling out these jars. There's a lot of mason jars. Did anybody ever watch Perry Mason? Or am I dating myself? All these old, I've always loved. Remington Steele was one of my favorite kind of detective shows. I was a huge Pierce Brosnan fan growing up. There's a lid floating around here somewhere. And then sometimes the lids are a little dusty and dirty, so let's see. Just wiping things down. So it's nice to have everything accessible and within arm's reach and not having to kick down there. This is overflow, but it's mostly appliances. That's the way they need to be. And then, so now that that's done, and that's tea. I have another upper section. I think I'm done for now. That was up in here. What? Yeah, that works out. And I can tuck this one in here. That'll work for there. Yeah, I'm happy. I think I'm done. I'm good. I hope you all enjoyed this episode, day 7 of the Rad 30-day declutter challenge. I'm challenging you for you to show up, right? Tomorrow or even later today, I could be discarding old books. If I get really ambitious, you might actually see day 17 a little early just to do the vanity. So, you know the drill. It's a love spin boom. Bunny hop. What? Boom. What? Keep it raw, stay rad. I love you.